What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back to a brand new video. It is I, your host, as always, Adam Perez, certainly coming through once again. If there is any lesson that 2020 has certainly taught me with all the incredible announcements that we wind up getting last year, is that never say never. And the reason why I say that is because today we wind up having ourselves some amazing Marvel news that could see the return of a very iconic character and actor who said they were hanging up their shield. So guys, let's go ahead and get into today's news. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start breaking this down for you guys today. I got to be honest, I don't want to say that this certainly came as a surprise, but I felt like it was almost time for at least one of our iconic characters to certainly make their return, whether that be Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man or Chris Evans as Captain America himself, ladies and gentlemen. And it seems as though Chris Evans might be wanting to return. So let's go ahead and dive into this article, ladies and gentlemen. This actually comes to us directly from Deadline, saying Captain America eyes his return to the MCU as Chris Evans nears a deal to reprise role in future Marvel project. So it says exclusive. In a move that is sure to shock the Marvel Cinematic Universe, sources tell Deadline that Chris Evans is cleaning the dust off his Captain America attire as he expected reprised the role in the MCU in some form, it says. Still vague if deal has completely closed, but insiders say it's headed in that direction for Evans to return as Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, in at least one Marvel property, with the door open for a second film. Sources add it's unlikely to be a new Captain America installment and more likely to be what Robert Downey Jr. did after Iron Man 3, similar to appearing in films like Civil War and Spider-Man Homecoming, if you will. So it definitely doesn't feel like Chris Evans, we're not going to be getting ourselves a Captain America 4 or a brand new trilogy or anything like that. It definitely feels as though this is still in the works of happening. So at any particular point in time, these negotiations could certainly flatline and this certainly not happen, but it definitely feels as though it's certainly going into the right direction. So I'm certainly going to keep my fingers crossed in regards to that. It also says that Marvel had no comment. Evans has been very public that he would be hanging up the shield after Endgame, with Marvel going so far as having the character hand the shield over to Anthony Mackie's character at the end of the film. Things have changed in recent months as the idea of floating Evans returning to the MCU as Rogers to see if there's any interest. As the weeks went by, Evans became more game to the idea, with two sides coming to an agreement at the top of the year. And one of the things that I will always say, guys, is that when an actor who has sort of made a name for themselves by becoming a character like Robert Downey when it comes to Iron Man, Hugh Jackman when it comes to Wolverine, right? Like, there are just some actors, when they say they're going to be hanging up their cloak or their shield or their suit of armor, sometimes the one thing that I always say is never say never, guys, right? Because you never know which direction your career is certainly going to go into, right? You could leave a huge franchise, but are people going to pick you up for work? Are they just going to see you as that character? Not to say that that's what's happening with Chris Evans, because I mean, if you saw him in Knives Out, you certainly know that this guy could do things outside of it. But sometimes, man, those paydays that Marvel dishes out for, whether it be just an appearance, a cameo, or having you in a film, sometimes those are very appealing, to say the least. So wouldn't be surprised that Evans would be interested in returning as Captain America. Like, who wouldn't, right? It says, it also says how he may return is still unclear and being worked out, but the options are unlimited. Over the years, even after the character's film franchise has come to an end, Marvel has found a way to insert them into the MCU and other properties. So it does seem as though, it says, whatever the path may be, fans are sure to be invigorated knowing that they would be seeing the return of a character. Absolutely, man, absolutely. I would be pumped to see Chris Evans return. Just because he left doesn't mean that he certainly can't come back. So those of you who are in fact wondering, yes, we do have ourselves an old Steve Rogers at the moment, but there is precedent in the Marvel comic books where we have seen an old man Steve Rogers in action. I believe the comic book storyline time was he actually became either the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., if I'm not mistaken, for a time before Steve Rogers actually did get his sort of super serum soldier back within him and wind up sort of de-aging and kind of going back into his prime, if you certainly will, right? So there is a point in time in the comic books where there is an old Steve Rogers that eventually goes back to being himself and Captain America, and that's usually during the time period where the Falcon is in fact Captain America. So Anthony Mackie, if you ask me, could certainly still pick up the mantle of Captain America, whether it be for a very brief period of time, and still have Chris Evans as Steve Rogers still in the mix in the MCU to some capacity. So I'm really intrigued to see what Marvel has up their sleeve in here. This continues to go along with their storylines of the upcoming massive Phase 4 that they kind of have planned for us as well. So the opportunities here are endless. So guys, if there's any lesson that should certainly be learned from this, never say never when an actor wants to go ahead and leave a franchise and say that they're certainly never going to come back, because clearly that is definitely not the case. So whatever Evan's reason is for certainly coming back, man, I would certainly be thrilled to have him back. So let's keep our fingers crossed that these negotiations and everything certainly falls into place for the return of Chris Evans in here. Because again, it doesn't seem as though, if anything, it may be one appearance for one movie. We don't really know how he's going to be utilized. Maybe here for another film if things really go well. If Chris Evans feels like he's back at home and doesn't really have any other projects lined up for him, I wouldn't be surprised to see him stick around maybe just a little bit longer. But other than that, guys, listen, I want to know your thoughts in regards to this massive news here of Chris Evans potentially returning as Captain America for Marvel. Definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts. And of course, I'm sure this weekend on our live episode of APlus Hero Report, we go live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. You guys will certainly find out the opinions of Indy as well as Stuart as they give certainly their thoughts on this news. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go ahead and do it for us here today. So thank you each and every one of you for certainly joining me. And do me a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.